Well, we are staring down the largest property tax increase in city history. If approved, the average homeowner would be paying just under $200 extra next year in taxes. But City Council will begin debating the budget next week. So to get a sense on what's in store for those debates, we're joined by Mayor Cynthia Block. Good morning.
Good morning, Stephanie.
Are you comfortable with the tax hike as it is right now?
No, I don't think anyone is.
Yeah.
And just to make sure your listeners understand, this is the start of debate, certainly not the end. This is where our administration has come up with what the number would be if we are trying to keep all of the services we currently have. These are not nice to haves, these are keeping what we have. And so now council has to decide, what can we do without, or how can we do things differently? And I anticipate a robust debate.
Will you be asking for reductions?
So I'll just to help listeners better understand what's driving the budget. It's mainly inflation because the inflationary pressures on cities right across the country have been astronomical. If you know that your household, inflation has gone up a lot, it's many multiples higher for municipalities. Just the things that we do, whether it's, pavement or concrete or sand, or all of those pieces have gone up many multiples. So that's a big component of it. And nearly half, 3.6 or 7%, is the police budget. So without that police budget, the overall property tax indicative rate before we start debating would be significantly lower. It's mostly being driven by an arbitration ruling for salaries, and also, in terms of an ability to change any of that. I mean, it's at a time when we know our community policing is more important than ever. So I don't anticipate a lot of movement there. However, later today, we'll have an options list. Council has directed our administration to come back with how can we continue to deliver the services that we know residents rely on every single day, and where can we find some options to reduce? And so we will get a formal look at that later today. And the way I understand it is that maybe not any one option would make a big difference, but maybe I can, just a sneak peek, it's 108 recommendations.
Oh, wow.
So, or not recommendations, I would call them options. But how could maybe a bucket of those start to move the needle a bit to try to keep the taxes lower?
Are there any other solutions you're looking at instead of, relying on property taxes?
Give me an example.
Well, I just heard you talking at a luncheon yesterday saying, property taxes aren't obsolete, but there are other options out there.
Yeah, it's a cities right across Canada are leaning in and pushing hard to get a new fiscal framework with Ottawa. We created property tax in the horse and buggy days, and as we know, other orders of government, their coffers grow as the economy grows. That's not true in cities. In cities, it means we simply have growth, and it costs us more to be able to pay for that growth. And while we also get more property tax, though none of that assessment fully keeps up. But that's another one. We don't know what our assessment looks like for this year. So I'm hoping that will have an impact on property tax because the building permits were quite a lot higher this year. So all of those pieces help, but overall growth does not pay for growth. And, attracting more commercial development would be a big help. But foundationally, property tax is the wrong tool, the way that it is currently designed, and I will continue to advocate alongside others to ask for a new deal from Ottawa.
Affordability is obviously top of mind for a lot of people right now. Are you concerned that increases like this will mean fewer people can afford to own a home here in Saskatoon?
I think affordability is on the minds of many people in our city, and I know it's on the minds of our businesses too. It weighs on me. And I think that's exactly why it's very frustrating for municipalities to always be in the hot seat as we're seeing these incredible increases in inflation. Your listeners have probably heard me say this before, but it's not just the things for construction or those basic things. It's also fire engines and police cars that have more than doubled in the last few years. Those are enormous numbers in the millions of dollars. How do we say no to those things? And it's so we're living in this new reality of ever larger pressure on our residents through property tax. Is that the right tool? And I'm arguing it's not. The only other way that we can actually affect any meaningful change is to reduce service. And reducing service is, in many ways, just kicking the can down the road. We worked really hard to build up a Building Better Roads program. We don't want to go back. I think it would be absolutely the wrong thing to do to, say, well, we won't do our work that we know we're supposed to do on roadway construction and sidewalk rehabilitation and somehow make that somebody else's problem in the future. I think that's been tried before. It's been found to be way more expensive for everyone in the long term.
Obviously, when deliberations begin, you're going to be looking at places where you can bring it down a little bit. But there are some asks that aren't included in the current tax hike, like hiring police officers on buses, I believe. Do you think there is an option of adding more to this increase?
There are going to be a few on that side of the options list, including a request to add police officers onto buses. It's being done in cities across Canada. And we really do need our bus system to be safe for everyone and to have a perception of safety. So I think that will be something that the council will want to consider. And, that will, just as it is right now, our police budget is roughly 25% of every dollar, 25 cents of every dollar that residents pay is for police. And if you add in fire, transportation, and transit, that's 70% of the budget. So it leaves very few dollars to start tinkering with. And we all know how much we care about our parks. There's just so many things that, cities are on the front lines to address. And it's just increasingly hard to find those dollars.
There was also a bit of discussion of potentially adding a monthly fee or I guess levy on top of the property tax to help with our homelessness crisis in the city. Are you in favor of that?
So I think that it was interesting that in our civic satisfaction survey, our administration decided to have the folks that do that work ask the question about how do residents feel about supporting a levy. Well, 63% wanted the levy. And of that 63%, there was sort of a range of three different options, and like 30-some percent, I think it is, chose the most expensive option, which was closer to $20 a month. I mean, I don't see that moving forward. I think that it would take a lot of time to consider what does that mean and what does it look like? How can you guarantee where the money is going? Who makes those decisions? Is it council? Do we need to sit down with Indigenous leadership and figure out a plan? And I'll continue to believe that this would be better done by community, with support from the city in some capacity. The mayor is, ready and willing to roll up her sleeves and be a part of that solution. I've said this many times that, it's actually 1 year tomorrow since I was sworn in as the mayor of Saskatoon. And through this whole year, almost every day, I have somebody either talk to me in person or the phone or ask via email, how can I help? And we don't have a vehicle to do that. The fact that residents are interested in supporting that is very heartwarming. We need to figure out the right tool to deliver that. And I'm not sure that going through the city is the right one, but we will continue to work on that. So
if there is no levy, how will the city pay for its planned response to homelessness?
Well, that is all part of our regular budget.
Okay.
So we already have put in money in the budget for that. There is, additional asks. You mentioned the, police on buses. There's an option. That's an option. The other option is more money for affordable housing. We have done a study, received, I guess, the outcome of a study that shows that we need to work really hard to stay in front of the affordable housing supply in Saskatoon. And while your city is not a deliverer of any housing, we are a partner, and we are falling behind based on what is needed in our city. And so how do we address that? And how do we address that in a way that there's some certainty in the system where the people that are actually building that kind of housing can kind of plan ahead? So that will be part of our discussions next week. So how do we make sure that we can do all of those pieces that we need and try to lower the overall budget? I suspect we are going to get there.
Do you have a magic number in mind where you would like to end?
I think about that a lot, Stephanie, but I don't want to predict what council will do with this budget, but I do know from all of the council members that I've spoken with that we have a strong desire to get this budget, in a range that is not where it is right now.
Well, Mayor, thank you so much for your time and helping us break this all down ahead of deliberations. We appreciate it.
Thank you.